Genesis 3 introduced us to sin entering the world. Genesis 4 shows us how sin spreads from one heart to another, from one generation to the next. Here we meet Cain and Abel, the first two sons of Adam and Eve, and witness the first murder in human history. Adam and Eve have two sons, Cain, the firstborn, and Abel, his younger brother. Cain becomes a farmer working the ground. Abel becomes a shepherd caring for flocks. Both of them bring offerings to the Lord. Cain brings some of the fruits of the soil. Abel brings firstborn sheep with their fat portions. The text tells us that God looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but not on Cain and his offering. We're not told exactly why in these verses, but the later pattern of Scripture points to heart and substance. Abel brings the best, the first and finest of his flock, offering sacrificial, blood-shedding worship. Cain brings common produce, perhaps without the same reverence or obedience. Instead of repenting or asking God, Cain becomes angry and his face falls. God speaks to him kindly but firmly. If you do well, will you not be accepted? If you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it. This is one of the clearest descriptions of how temptation works. Sin isn't just a mistake. It's a force that lies in wait, ready to pounce when we don't resist. God doesn't remove temptation. He calls us to rule over it. But Cain does not master sin. He lets jealousy, pride, and bitterness grow until he leads Abel into the field and kills him. The first child to be born now becomes the first murderer. The first sibling relationship is shattered by bloodshed. Then God confronts Cain with one of the most haunting questions in Scripture. Where is your brother Abel? Cain answers, I don't know, am I my brother's keeper? God already knows the truth. He says, what have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. And God pronounces judgment. The ground that once yielded crops will now resist Cain. He will wander the earth, restless and rootless. He will live in fear that someone will avenge his brother's death. Cain cries out, my punishment is too great to bear. And yet God shows mercy, even in judgment. He puts a mark on Cain so that no one will kill him. And he lets Cain live, start a family, build a city, and continue the line of fallen humanity. So Genesis 4 reveals several truths. Sin does not stay private. It spreads from the individual to the family, and from there to the world. Jealousy, unchecked anger, and pride can lead to violence if we don't listen to God's warning. Even in the face of murder, God is still just and merciful. He judges sin, but he also preserves life. The chapter ends with a note on the growth of the human race. Other sons and daughters are born, and Cain's descendants begin building cities, developing culture, and multiplying their population. Sin goes forward, but so does God's plan. Because in the middle of this dark chapter, another line is quietly growing. The line that will one day lead to Seth, and then to Noah, and finally to the one who will crush the serpent's head. So Genesis 4 is not just the story of two brothers. It's a picture of what happens when sin is not mastered. It's also a reminder that God still speaks, still warns, still judges, and still leaves a door open for grace. Even in the shadow of the first murder.